When you come to Manatee Coast, you're going to be immersed in a little slice of Florida. We modeled this after the 10,000 islands, and it's pretty much spot on. So you're going to see mangrove trees. We've got all three represented here. We also have some pelicans. We've got lots of fish, a sea turtle, and we got manatees, which are the center of attention. But what you may not realize is that we're part of the Manatee Rescue and Rehabilitation Partnership. The MRP is a conglomeration of private, nonprofit, state, and federal agencies that all work together to ensure the survival of the manatee species as a whole. That involves rescues, releases, and tracking after these guys are put back out into the water. As part of the MRP, we are a second stage rehab facility. So that means we take in animals that generally need to have a little bit more time healing or have to put on extra weight. So we're here to fatten them up, make sure they stay healthy, and once they get up to about 600 pounds, then we get them right back down to Florida to be released into their native habitat. Since 1999, we've had 39 manatees in our program. So a lot of manatees come through here. It's kind of like a revolving door. So anytime you come to the zoo, you may see new faces here. But there is one face that you're going to be familiar with, and that's Stubby. She's the matriarch of our program, and she kind of makes our job a little bit easier here because she is so excellent helping us raise orphans. Stubby was rescued in 1995, and she was suffering from cold stress and a boat strike. That was so severe that they had to remove 70% of her paddle, which is her tail. She's about 800 pounds at the time, and we think that puts her at about 3 years old. So she's roughly 30 years old right now. Because of Stubby's injuries, she's deemed conditionally non-releasable. But that's okay. She's a great ambassador for her species, and the job she does here makes our jobs easier. She's a great surrogate mom to all the orphans that come through here, and since 2012, there's been 23 orphans in a row. When we bring these guys in, they're coming off a plane and a truck. They're a little bit out of their element, so we put them into our rehab pool to start. We've got to make sure that these guys can get up and get a breath of air. Now at that point, Stubby's already at the fish gate, kind of bumping her head on it like, hey, I see what's going on in there. Once these guys get a breath and we're comfortable with them getting to the surface, we open up the fish gate and Stubby comes right into it. It's a beautiful thing to watch. She'll get right in underneath them and make sure they can get to the surface and get a breath of air. Then she goes and gets some lettuce. She'll take them out into the big pool. It's kind of like, hey man, everything's gonna be okay. Like you feel everything just kind of calming down a little bit just because of her presence. Manatees in their native range run into a lot of challenges. Some of them man-made, some of them natural. Red tide's one of those natural ones that is kind of enhanced by man, and it's a neurological toxin. So that can actually paralyze a manatee and they're not able to get to the surface to breathe. There's boat strikes. There's floodgates that they can get caught behind or crushed in. There's fishing line entanglement, and one of the newer ones is starvation. There's a lot of over-nutrification happening in the waterways down in Florida, and there's an algae that grows on top of the water, and that blocks out the sun. So that kills all the grasses and stuff that they're going to be eating. Now, manatees are very important to the environment because they're going to keep all these grasses and plants at bay and keep them from overgrowing. They also produce a lot of fertilizer, which in turn brings in a lot of baby fish, which in turn brings in bigger fish. So they are an important part of the web of life down in Florida. Manatees are unique. I mean, they're big and they're round and they don't look like they could move very fast at all, but they're one of the most graceful swimmers I've ever been around. They're smart. I haven't met one manatee that doesn't think it's hilarious. They always seem to be in a good mood. Nothing preys on them. They don't prey on anything. They have the perfect groovy niche. So when people come in here, I want them to be inspired. I want them to be hopeful, and I want them to understand that you can be part of conservation in Florida right here in Ohio. And no matter how small it is, every little bit makes a difference.